Futureproof is sponsored by Carrot Events, showcasing your company values with high impact bespoke events. Hello and welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I continue these programs talking about future-proofing and emotional intelligence. And in the first half, I was talking about Howard Gardner and how he inspired me. And actually, I started my journey looking at my own levels of emotional intelligence and my personal development. And for me to improve my levels of, I think, feeling confident about the future, being secure, and an effective thinking that served me rather than thinking that damaged me, I found that Howard Gardner was a very, very good start to that journey. And I want to stay with him for a second and just share a couple of his books. So I said Howard Gardner is well known for multiple intelligences, and he is a prolific writer. He's written on he's written a number of books on the subject, and here is one of them which I have read. I highly recommend it to you. It was written some years ago, but the content hasn't changed at all, so I commend that to you. But the other book that I'd like to commend to you, and I'd like to read from it a bit too, is his book called 5 Minds for the Future. And this obviously it is about the future. This is what future-proof is all about. So I think it's absolutely right that I should read from the front cover of this book, because it positions it very well, and I hope that inspires you to actually search him out, even in the library, and maybe do a bit of reading. If not, if reading isn't your thing, then do Google him on YouTube and sit and watch some of his YouTube where he talks through some of his work. So 5 Minds for the Future, this is how he opens up, and you'll see why it's just so relevant to this program. The world of the future will demand capacities that until now have been mere options. Have you begun developing those capacities in yourself or indeed others? We live in a time of vast change that includes accelerating globalization, mounting quantities of information, the growing hegemony of science and technology, and the clash of civilization. Those changes call for new ways of learning and thinking in schools, businesses, and professions. In 5 Minds for the Future, noted psychologist Howard Gardner defines the cognitive abilities that will command a premium in the years ahead. Now, this was written, I think, it was published in 2010, so things would have moved on even more from what he says here. So these are the 5 minds. The disciplinary mind, mastery of major schools of thought, including science, mathematics and history, and of at least one professional craft. 2, the synthesizing mind, the ability to integrate ideas from different disciplines or spheres into a coherent whole and to communicate that integration to others. 3rd mind, the creative mind. This is incredibly, and listening to Ken Robinson just goes on and on about how important the creative mind is. The capacity to uncover and clarify new problems, questions and phenomena. And we know that computers are also being programmed, robots are being programmed to do this, machine learning. The 4th mind, the respectful mind. So this is the heart. Awareness of and appreciation of differences among other human beings. This is absolutely crucial to us future-proofing. And the last one, but by no means the least, the ethical mind, fulfillment of one's responsibilities as a worker and as a citizen. Armed with these well-honed capacities, a person will be equipped to deal with what is expected in the future, as well as what cannot be anticipated. And that's exactly where we are now. Without these minds, individuals will be at the mercy of forces that they can't understand, overwhelmed by information, unable to succeed in the workplace, and incapable of making judicious decisions about personal and professional matters. Renowned worldwide for his theory of multiple intelligences, Gardner takes that thinking to the next level in this book. Concise and engaging, Five Minds for the Future will inspire lifelong learning in any reader and provide valuable insights for those charged with training and developing organisational leaders today and tomorrow. So, you know, if this programme wasn't called Future Proofing, it would be called something very similar to this, Five Minds for the Future. So I highly, highly commend it to you. Please, as I say, search him. And if reading isn't your thing, then do Google him. There's a lot now to be heard or to be watched on the web. So, and he is inspiring. But he's not the only one. There's also another incredible lady. Now, I remember years ago when Thales, based it's a French company based in Crawley, they train all of their new staff in emotionally intelligent leadership, and I think it's up to a week long, the training that all the new cohorts go to. And on the last day, they invited on 2 occasions me as a professional speaker to go and speak to them about emotional intelligence and maybe bring some of their study learning, if you like, to bring it alive. And I talked about energy vampires and self-sabotaging emotions, and I even got out those divider sticks and what have you and talked about energy and negative energy and the impact of it. If we say negative things about other people or to other people, we actually eat that negative energy ourselves. So our own energy levels will decrease if we go around trashing other people or running them down. We're actually damaging our own health. And I was able to actually give them a visual on that, which was quite powerful. Not everybody's cup of tea, but it's still food for thought. But at Thales, they were talking about, and I know most of their studying is done from a book written by Susan David called Emotional Agility. This is the older cover. I know in more recent publications that cover has changed, so don't look to recognise the cover. And she talks about the RUN method, RUUM, and that is to recognise emotions, to understand the emotions that you're seeing, to use that understanding and use your emotional knowledge so that it can help you, if you like, as you move forward. And then the last thing is to manage those emotions. Again, I really commend this book to you. I've actually got an elastic band here where I mark pages that are very, very useful. And, you know, clients, I have a huge amount of literature and reading. I've got a lot on Kindle too, but all my clients know that my library is open to them, and this book is a book that is borrowed a lot so that people take it and then just return it when they finish with them. And what you might be surprised to know is the other thing in my library, which is actually has been taken out more than anything else, is The 5 Love Languages, and by Chapman. And you'd think that's got nothing to do with business, but it's amazing, isn't it? As human beings, whilst we're running our businesses, whilst we're going around doing stuff, we all have our own emotions. We've got our own lives going on. We've got our own relationship challenges at work or at home. And the heart is central to all of it. So I just love the fact that Chapman's 5 Love Languages, that is the thing that has been drawn from my library more than any other book or pamphlet or article or even my own writings. Nothing has been taken out as often as the 5 Love Languages. So do Google that if you want to know more about it. So the other thing I just want to talk about is I'm part of a reading group, and John Thacker, a guy I've known for a long, long time, he's been a client of ours for many, many years, but also it's probably quite a few years that he stopped for different reasons, for changes in his life and what have you. But he runs a book club and he does a synopsis on many different books, and some I've already read and others he's actually introduced to us. And one I've already read and I love it. He has a synopsis here, and I must just recommend the book to you, and it's Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. Another book, Gretchen Rubin, she has a few books, but the happiness book, the book on happiness, is absolutely intriguing. And Mistakes Were Made, fantastic book. And another book that was introduced to me by John Thacker is a book called Better Than Before, which really talks about the importance of habits. So often we rely on good decision making to discipline yourself, to keep yourself away from this program or whatever else. But if you actually create habits, it takes the decision making away. There's much more that I could say about it. I'm not planning to spend programs actually going in depth on these books. On another one here, No One Understands Me by Heidi Grant. Fantastic. Do you ever feel misunderstood? Well, go and find her book. It will really help you. It will give you pointers. So I commend Howard Gardner, Susan David and all these others to you. Have a great few days, and see you soon. Thank you for joining me.